get my... He's amazing. Just saying. Sure, let's play. Does it do anything? That really wasn't funny. I'm not sure. You know, certain things you don't plan. I didn't plan on doing that, but it just sort of came to me. We need a little levity. Things are rough out there. So I'm glad that at least for now we're in here. We have each other. Take a look around. See the Pnei Shabbat. You know, even with masks, the faces of Shabbat. I hope bring each of you to look at everyone else, people you know and people you've never met before. I hope just looking at each other's faces brings you some hope, some uplift, some goodness that we all need. You know, Shabbat, oh my gosh, there's a knock on the window. So, some uplift. Welcome to CRC post being closed for a year and a half. But I really do believe that that part of that uplift is what we can provide for one another, for inspiration, for hope, and for goodness. And know that even as we gather here, as I told Sydney and Zara, you know, there's more people watching that are connected to us too, and though we can't see their faces, I think we feel their presence. I feel their presence. And so all of us can use this Shabbat, these Shabbat moments to renew our souls, to get ourselves ready to go back into the world and be forces of goodness and repair and justice and peace, compassion and love. So get ready for some singing and some learning and some just being with one another. I want to say, even before we kind of formally get started, that I kind of mentioned their names, but we're blessed to have two amazing speakers who are going to be part of the service tonight. We have Sydney Collinger and Zara Stevick, both graduates of the Cultural Leadership Program that I think so many of us at CRC know really, really well. And so part of being a cultural leadership graduate, being a troublemaker of the best kind, is to spread the trouble, right? Spread the word, spread the message. And so we're going to hear from Sydney and Zara. Sydney grew up here, CRC, had, those are the pronouns? Okay. Had her bat mitzvah at CRC, and it's great to get to know Zara as well, and their family and friends that are here to support them. So get ready for some great teachings coming your way. More reason to have hope and to be inspired. But let's begin with a little bit more song. Andrew and Leslie have already started the ball rolling by kind of getting us singing and in tune with the melody. But on page 4, I always say that I talk so much that we blew through 3 pages you didn't even notice. We're already on page 4. All that stuff that I just said was on pages 1, 2, and 3, and didn't even have to look down. But now we're on page 4. We have melodies that we like to start the service with. On Friday night, the first melody, actually you don't even need the book. No words at all. You just need your breath and your spirit. It's just lai. Don't need any English knowledge or Hebrew knowledge or any language except the language of spirit. And then we'll transition into words. First, English words, the translation of a passage from Isaiah, translation from its original Hebrew into English, and then in Hebrew from the book of Psalms. Both of those passages put to music are about welcome and inclusion and belonging, and the idea that anyone who comes here, for all the different reasons you are here, and there are many reasons that people kind of make their way to synagogue for Shabbat services, for all the reasons you're here, you belong, whether this is your first time here or you're here all the time. Both the passage from Isaiah and the passage from Psalm says, while you're here and once you're here, we are community, we are family. So take a deep breath, and let's sing a little bit. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Isaiah, and they shall come to my holy mountain and rejoice in my house of prayer. My house shall be a house of prayer for all people. My house shall be a house of prayer for all people, and they shall come to my holy mountain and rejoice in my house of prayer. My house shall be a house of prayer for all people. My house shall be a house of prayer for all people. The song, the psalm, the poem, the message. Hine matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Amen. Thanks for singing. So, the ritual that we have for Friday night throughout the whole Jewish world is to begin the Sabbath, our time of rest and holiness and renewal and peace, we hope and pray, is by lighting candles. We do that in our homes, in our synagogues, wherever we gather on Friday evening, anticipating the sunset and the nighttime. And so we will do that here, so all of us can experience the light and the beginning of the Sabbath. And it's truly a pleasure to ask Stan Platke, who turned 80 on Tuesday, had his big birthday, and Lisa to come on up to light candles. Mazel tov. Come on up. So these aren't birthday candles, so leave them going. But I'm going to...
Close enough.
But it is right. So you do whatever you want. It's your birthday week.
Yeah, right.
Happy birthday, Stan. So as you and Lisa prepare to light candles, we're on the bottom of page 4 with our preparation for doing this mitzvah song. And so take your time, enjoy. Everyone else, soak in the light. Be the light, spread the light. Hear our prayers, we sing to you. Be gracious to the ones we love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear our prayers to you. Let us light these lights and see our way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see our way to you, and let us say Amen. Stan, it's so appropriate that you come up here after songs of welcome, because you help welcome everybody here. You do. You make everyone feel like they belong, which is just exactly what we want. And you do it just emanates from who you are. And also appropriate that you're here to light candles because of the light that you bring to CRC, and I know so many other places that are part of your life, but we claim you here on Friday night and Saturday, and we're so blessed, and we're so lucky. So with Stan and Lisa, kind of spread that light around, just like Andrew sings. Spread the light around all the people and places that need extra light. There's so much light that's needed, so many places that I know feel like they're plunged into darkness, so many people that feel like we're plunging into darkness. But you know, there's always light, there's always glimmers. So make sure that light goes where it needs to go. But also, there's always enough light to go around. So bring some of that light into your own heart, your own soul, your own being. Fill your soul with light and goodness and love as we sing with Leslie and Andrew, the bracha, the blessing for the mitzvah of beginning the Sabbath each and every week through the lighting of lights. Stay up here one more second. One more blessing. This one's for you and your birthday and this special moment that we get to share with you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'eheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Everybody ready for the Amen choir? Here we go. Keep going. Amen. Keep going now. Blessed is the Holy One whose presence fills creation, whose presence especially fills this moment. That presence that gave us our lives and that kept us alive and brought us to Lazman Hazeh, this special moment of celebration, of appreciation, of birthday. And let us all say, Amen. And now you can say Shabbat Shalom to each other and to the folks watching on the stream, and make sure, you know, everyone kind of gets Shabbat greetings. Stan, here, I'll do this. Just gotta give you a hug. All right. So we've lit the candles. We've had moments of blessing. Let's go all the way to page 10. There were like sounds of surprise. Oh, all the way to page 10. I think there was a time in this congregation, we have people that have been at CRC a long time, Steve, where the prayer book was just about 10 pages, right? Well, page 10 was like the end. So, you know, we've come a long way, right? So, it's hard to get people to make it shorter. You know what, that is so true. Steve said something, that was like rabbinic. He said, it's hard. It was hard to get the Siddur to get shorter. It's only going to get longer, which is so true. And it's not only true of the CRC prayer book, by the way. That's like if you study prayer book, it just keeps getting longer. So it's one of those truths of religion that you've just identified in us.
Mark Twain said it. He said, if I'd had more time, I would have made it shorter.
We should have a rule that we can't have a Shabbat service without name checking Mark Twain here in Missouri. Don't you think that's like kind of like? All right, we're on page 10. If you're able, please stand. Because this is a moment of calling. We're calling each other to prayer, and we're calling out to the universe that this may be a moment of stillness and of purpose and of meaning. And so we call forth a moment of earth, trees and rocks and soil and mountains, sand and field. We call forth a moment of water, ocean and streams and rain and waterfalls and swimming holes. Call forth moments of air, wind and song and breath and breeze. We call forth moments of fire, like the candles that Lisa and Stan and all over people have been lighting candles, but also sun and campfires and lightning. Call forth values like compassion and joy and peace and love for yourself and for all beings, whether they are north or south or east or west, above and below, no boundaries. Right? In Hebrew, the word for direction is ruach. It's not about quadrants, it's wind. Right? So the directions, every place leads to every other place. Let these elemental images and these godly qualities and values ground us as we open our hearts to these moments of Shabbat prayer. We're on pages 10 and 11. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And our blessings give us strength and make our visions clear. And blessings give us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And Adonai, Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Le'olam Vaed. Page 12, just going to sing the refrain of this prayer, but it's important, there are moments where this prayer kind of looms larger than other times, and we just had Rosh Chodesh, the new moon, in this case, the new moon of Tammuz. The Hebrew months are actually months, right? They're based on the moon from the sliver new moon to the full moon, and then the moon wanes, And that's the month period. It's an ancient way of calculating time and season and the passage of time. So a new moon, and last night it was so incredible. I don't know if anyone saw that new moon last night, the sliver. It was like really beautiful in the sky, the summer sky. Kind of took me aback. It was so perfect. It was like kind of a poster of Rosh Chodesh, but it was real. It was the way we saw the moon last night from here. It was the new moon of Tammuz. Bless you. A summer month, one of the months that's like just firmly a summer month, and I don't think any of us in St. Louis can escape the fact that it's summertime, for better and for worse, right? But a new month, always, anytime there's something new, whether it's a new year or a new month, a new day, a new breath, I think gives us reason to reflect on beginnings and hope. And so I hope that this new moon does that for us in a time where I think for many, it's so overwhelming and hope seems to be in such a drought, like a summer drought, that the new month, which is really a holiday in the Jewish tradition, as much as Shabbat is a weekly holiday, not everybody observes it, but Rosh Chodesh is a monthly holiday. And so, we know all that from the nighttime sky, and this prayer on page 12 is all about nighttime. We have a special prayer in the evening service, right in this spot for the night, and then tomorrow morning, it's all about light and the morning. And both nighttime and daytime have qualities that I think can be spiritually nourishing to us in different ways. But this is about nighttime. This is about the fact that in the sky, even tonight, you'll see, hopefully, when we leave this place, that beginning of a new moon, a new month, a cause for new hope. And so let's sing the refrain on page 12. It says, evening, the evenings, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv aravim, amen. May the coming of this evening with its new moon help even the frayed edges of our lives and the life of the universe as well.
Evening the frayed edges of our lives, Ma'ariv, aravim, amen. Ma'ariv, aravim, amen. Ma'ariv, aravim,
This next song is sort of in preparation for the Shema, and it's not yet in the prayer book. So when we expand it, Steve, it'll get in there. Maybe we'll take something out, but probably not. It goes like this. The chorus is really easy to catch on to. There's only one word in the chorus. One love for each other, sisters, brothers, we're one, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other, ready, sing it. One, yeah. One singing one. Love is the temple, love the higher law. Love is the temple, love the highest law. Love is the temple, love the higher law. Love is the temple, love the highest law. Come on, one, yeah. One more time, we're singing one. If it's your custom to stand as you recite the Shema, I invite you to stand. It's also traditional in many communities to stay seated, and if you don't have a tradition at all, pick your own, stand, sit. However you want to be. That's sort of the point of the Shema, really. That one, the word at the end of Shema is one, echad in Hebrew. And it doesn't mean the same, just like the song says. It's not about being the same. It's about being connected. So whether you're sitting or standing or watching on stream or here or whatever tradition you come from, we're unique, each of us, and yet we're also still one, still echad. No separation. We have moments where we really feel it. I hope this is one of those moments where you really feel that oneness, really feel that connection, really understand that underneath it all, there's no separation between us and nature, between us and others, between us and the divine even, right? There's mystical branches of Judaism in all traditions that teach there's no separation, really, between human and divine. One. So let's sing with Andrew, Leslie, with each other, as one, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. Continuing on the next page, 16. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavcha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol meodecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlektecha v'derech, uvshokbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leod al yadecha, vehayu letotafo beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lihiyot lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 18. So, just wanted to, our Torah is going to for sure come from Zara and Sydney, but some words from the actual Torah portion, really briefly. But it is very kind of interesting to me that we always get, or we almost always get Korach at the same Shabbat that we have Independence Day. the 4th of July. Because, Korach is about a revolution. It's literally the story of a revolution. Now, it was a revolution about democratization. I mean, that was Korach's, main sort of, his main cry, his main battle cry against Moses was that things weren't democratic enough, right? That Moses had all the power. Now, interesting that in our tradition, that revolution was deemed to be not that revolution is something that should never happen, but that particular revolution was an unworthy revolution, right? That Korach, and this is, for a Torah study, but that Korach was deemed to be really about his own self and his own power as opposed to really helping uplift anybody else. But there's an interesting idea in even the name Korach. Korach means frozen. It's the root of the name Korach is the Hebrew word for frozen. And you know what happens to Korach? Who knows what happens to Korach in the story after the failed revolution? He gets kind of buried into the ground, kind of swallowed up by the earth. And so there's one way to look at that, if you take it as a story that is supposed to have a lesson for us, that Korach was like a frozen seed that got planted, waiting for it to grow to the time where it was most needed and really could best be expressed in a pure way, not in a selfish or sort of arrogant way. And I love to think about that sort of idea of democratization kind of growing like our garden, like the produce in our garden, and nourishing us. And I think I think many of us will agree that on this July 4th, this Independence Day, we again need to, not that it's ever stopped, but we need to revitalize our democracy. We need to empower each other, and there's too many people that have become, even in the last week or two, marginalized and oppressed and without a voice, right? And so it is time for that frozen seed to grow and to be, this is the message I know that cultural leadership is putting out into the world. Talk about seeds growing and making a difference. But on this very weekend, that we think about democracy and the ideal that we're supposed to live up to, that we're not there yet, but like that frozen seed, we got to get there, and we got to get there soon, and we got to get there with each other and get each other's backs. Too many people are suffering, and too many people are in need of uplift and empowerment. And that's Michamocha. That's this next song. It comes from the moment when something that seemed impossible actually became possible. Slavery for thousands of years, hundreds, thousands of years in the Torah, and then freedom. That's how we got to think about this, right? All these forces of oppression. We need that Michamocha moment. We need that frozen seed to flourish and to grow. And so one of the things we do is sing these freedom songs to inspire us to never give up and to keep on the fight this 4th of July weekend and beyond.
Bye, Madonna. אחותך ובניך בוקי הים לפני משה אחותך ובניך בוקי הים לפני מרים זה לי לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל Siya Habakkuk en cuencos 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 We are marching in the light of God 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 We are marching We are marching We are marching in the light of God We are marching We are marching We are marching in the light of God Kamocha bayalim Adonai Mi kamocha nedabakodesh Mi kamocha bayalim Adonai Mi kamocha nedabakodesh
Page 20. Michamocha is sort of a big public societal redemption moment. It reminds us of the Pride weekend we just had and all of the movements for change, redemption, the possibility of possibilities. Hashkivenu is a little bit different. It's also redemption, but on a little bit more of a personal scale. The idea that every single one of us should feel like we are covered and protected and embraced by a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. And if we hope it for ourselves, then of course we hope it for others. That's how the personal becomes political. But it becomes a simple prayer in my heart. It's for all of you. And those you love and people I know and people I'll never meet. If I want to be protected by a shelter of peace, I want that for everybody. So my heart is open to all. And now our hearts can be open to all. It's sort of a plea. In Yiddish, a schrei, cry. Surrendering ourselves to the hope that everything will be all right. All our heart and our soul. We pray for each other. Nobody excluded. Take this soul, living in my skin and bones. Take this soul and let it sing. Yahweh, Yahweh, always pain before a child is born. Yahweh, it's always dark before the dawn. Bring on the dawn. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Allow us all to lie and rise in peace, in shalom. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Sing it out. Shalom. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom, shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim. We shall overcome. Shall sing with all our might. Everything's gonna be alright. Come on. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gotta be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. That's our prayer. That's our hope. That's our call to action. That's our mantra. Thanks to Bob Marley. Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot. Shlomecha, and cover over us tonight with a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace for you, for those you love. A Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace over all creation, everyone and everything that dwells on earth. Everyone and everything that dwells on earth. This night, all nights, pray for a shelter of peace over all creation. Amen. Shalom. Peace. Shanti. Salam. Shalom. Page 23. Again, if you're able, please stand. We begin the kind of middle part of the service together with the words of another psalm on page 23, the psalm of opening, I like to call it. Has that word, patach, to open. And then we'll have just a few moments of silent prayer time, allowing everyone to kind of put into the service their own hopes and prayers and yearnings. And then we'll all sit down and sing another prayer for peace. And then we'll hear from our cultural leadership graduates and a message for Shabbat for all of us. So let's begin. The psalm says, open your hearts and open your souls and open your minds, open doors, open arms, and then our mouths should be open to sing and to say words that are positive and life-affirming. Please be seated. Look, you guys from the congregation can see the 7 square windows, right? That's a great meditation. If you ever want something like during that time period, those 7 windows, very intentional. This whole building was built with incredible intention. There's so many things to point out, but the 7 windows, stand for the 7 days of the week. 7th day is Shabbat. 7 is a number in the Jewish tradition and other spiritual traditions that suggest holiness and completion and wholeness. So, if you ever want a meditation during the silent prayer time, just kind of focus on each of those windows one at a time till you get to 7. It's just kind of I sometimes just do that, and it really is a great Shabbat meditation. So here's what I want to do for the prayer here. We've got a couple choices for peace prayers, but turn to page 31. This is Olam Chesed Yibaneh, I think it's a good prayer to kind of start to kind of help introduce our cultural leadership speakers. Could be one of the slogans of cultural leadership, to build the world from love, right? To build the world from justice, to build the world from goodness, right? To rebuild the world, and to try to take out everything in the world that is destructive and divisive and violent, and replace it with, what's just and peace-giving and life-affirming. So that's the song I actually spoke with. I know many of us remember and know KB Frazier, Dr. KB, who is studying to be a rabbi in Philadelphia. And KB and I had a great conversation today. And KB took this song to the U.S. Capitol a few years ago, if you recall. The group of people, Jewish and non-Jewish, sang this song protesting for the rights of immigrants. And for DACA recipients, and there's a great YouTube video, and got arrested. Almost all of them got arrested at that day, singing this song, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, to the idea of building or rebuilding the world with chesed, this delicious Hebrew concept that combines love and kindness and goodness into one sort of concept. So it's got Hebrew, it's got English, and then we'll prepare for our speeches.
Olam Chesed Yibaneh, da 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 da. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, da 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 da. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, ya da 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 da, ya da da da. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, ya da da. Then God will build this world from love. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Olam Chesed Yibaneh.
So not too many weeks ago, right? We had, what class is it that was here?
Class 17.
The most recent, the present class. Class 17 was here. Elizabeth was here as one of their trip leaders. They were just starting out on their transformational journey. That is part of the year of cultural leadership. And now the transformation journey has ended. Jeremy went on Elizabeth and Jeremy all 3 weeks, and went to Washington, D.C., and down south to the whole civil rights trail, and got to see wonderful Ramona Taylor Williams, who was a wonderful activist in St. Louis and part of our Holy Ground Collaborative. Now she's in Mississippi, and I know you guys spent lots of time with Ramona. So that was class 17, and now a few weeks later, we're back again with Jeremy Brock, the program director of cultural leadership, who has brought with him, as I said, 2 wonderful alums of the program, Zara, who just graduated high school, Mazel Tov, and Sydney, who's a rising senior in high school. And it's a really honor to introduce Jeremy Brock, who will introduce our speakers. Jeremy.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here today. It is a true honor to have worked with Sydney Collinger and Sarah Stevick. They are, like Rabbi Randy said, from class 16, so we're kind of jumping around here, but they graduated in October, and because of the pandemic, didn't really have an opportunity to deliver speeches until now, so we're really grateful to be in this space. We are currently on class 17, and we will transition to class 18 in January, and so if you know any rising sophomores or juniors who are just open-minded, curious, just want to learn about other people, learn how maybe they can get active. They don't have to be the most active people, but they just want to learn. I really encourage you to have them apply. You can go to our website at culturalleadership.org, talk to me, talk to Rabbi Randy. Love to get them involved. Also want to plug our middle school summer camp that is actually still looking for entrants this summer, this July 11th through 23rd. I know there's no short supply of Jewish summer camps, but this is a really special summer camp. I think just to kind of give everyone an overview, Cultural Leadership is a youth leadership and social justice program. We work with students from all across the St. Louis region, all different school districts, races, religions, and we're looking at things through the lenses of the Black and Jewish perspectives, but really just as a gateway to really look at so many other identities and communities. And so it's a chance to not just learn about Judaism, but learn about other cultures and then share that as well. So let us know if you know any middle schoolers or high schoolers who are interested. But this is really about Sydney and Zara today. Truly, I could go on, and I don't want to steal their spotlight, but they are some of the most empathetic and reflective, deep listeners I think I've had the pleasure of working with. They always strive for understanding, whether they're listening to speakers or their fellow classmates, and I think you'll see that in their speeches. So I'm really, it's a pleasure to get to introduce both of them. Sydney, would you come up?
Hello, Shabbat Shalom. Okay. Empathy is a characteristic that so many people, including myself, strive to achieve. Yeah. Okay, can you hear me better now? Okay. Empathy is a characteristic that so many people, including myself, strive to achieve daily, an energy exuded that pulls people in to freely share their troubles. So many people, including myself, want an empathetic brain to share their stories with, not just a robot that will immediately spew out a response to your problem or news. My name is Sydney Collinger, and I am a member of CRC. I'm also a member of Cultural Leadership's Class 16. Cultural Leadership is a year-long program that trains high school students to become activists for social justice. Over the course of the year, we meet monthly for programming, have 3 weekend retreats, and go on a transformational journey. Due to COVID, we went through St. Louis over the summer, then over Labor Day weekend 2021, we took a 5-day journey through the American South. We learn the concepts and skills of relationship building that are vital to making positive change in our respective communities. Although I knew online participation was the safest option, it did make it difficult to connect with my peers. Eventually, I made the switch to attend in person, and doing so proved to me that engagement is the key factor to empathy. I took into account the different stages of life my peers and I were all in, how we were raised, where we were from, what schools we attended, and how all of those details could either tether us or push us further apart. We couldn't have been any more different, though as we readied ourselves for change in our thoughts and our responses, we melted together in a fondue-like fashion. The earlier retreats and meetings I attended told me I'd been listening to people, but I hadn't been listening in a way that was very productive, a way that made people feel very heard. At these meetings, we did an activity called listening pairs, in which two people are paired together to discuss how they feel about a group discussion we'd had prior. The purpose was to listen with the intent to gain a different perspective, not just waiting for your turn to speak. Our need to be heard is innate and, most importantly, attainable. Attainability is on your end. Waiting for your turn to speak can be challenging at first because so many people have unknowingly grown a habit of it. But once that single barrier, invisible barrier, was broken down, I was fully prepared to listen to my peers and the invaluable speakers brought in by cultural leadership. I would have never noticed the fact that I was thinking of what my comeback in an argument or conversation would be if not for being introduced to such a tool. I felt heard and safe, a feeling that one would be hard-pressed to replace, and one that I hope everyone can experience consistently. During Labor Day weekend, we embarked on our 5-day Southern transformational journey where we visited sites of historical significance to issues of social justice and civil rights. We met with incredible individuals and groups who are and have been working to bring about change in this country. Beautifully towering weeping willows and well-kept stones are the site I'd wished were a site I'd wish were in a place other than a Confederate graveyard. These willows stroked the ground that we spat jujube seeds out upon the request of our tour guide and lifelong native of Selma, Alabama, Joanne Bland. Seeds that we hoped one day may grow copious fruit trees and flourish in honor of every Black person in America, dead and living. I feel nothing is what my Black classmates Bryant and O'Crier responded with after being prompted by Miss Bland to state how they felt, looking at the love and continuous care the Confederate graves received each passing year. Miss Bland's response was one I will keep plastered on the wall of my brain for as long as I continue to remain empathetic. Her quote is one I can relate to far too many injustices. She told them, "I want you to feel something. This will always be a threat to you and to people you love." Joanne Bland used the title foot soldier throughout our tour to describe not only herself, but every person marching and making an impact that may not have been seen at the front lines. I had been relatively uninformed about this title prior to our transformational journey. The foot soldiers not only make the crowd full, but help push the outcomes where they should have been long ago. You cannot have a revolution without a continuous drive for change that foot soldiers bring to a movement. The south side of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the bridge that carried civil rights leaders and foot soldiers, including 11-year-old Joanne Bland, through Bloody Sunday, was our final destination. There stands a memorial that appears to host graves that mourn the lost foot soldiers, those whose lives were, as Miss Bland stated, taken, not given. The latter being a common misconception we may unknowingly feed one another in comfort. As we stood around these large memorial stones that by passing mindlessly over the bridge could go unnoticed, we honored the resilience of every foot soldier and mourned those of them whose lives were taken. Seeking out different perspectives is a key component to one's future with social change. To put this into action, we not only learned from individuals, but from institutions as well, such as the Equal Justice Initiative's Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. As you walk into the exhibit, you are greeted by the harsh and unfriendly waters of the Atlantic Ocean that took thousands of inhumanely trafficked Africans from their homes and that will remain the final resting place for many of these individuals. As I kept shakily placing one foot before the other, I came across a towering and quite overwhelming, after I learned what it was, wall containing sills that kept large jars of soil. I at first thought it incongruous. What does soil have to do with the Black experience in America? At closer glance, I noticed words written on the jar with the names of cities including Birmingham, Montgomery, Jackson, and many other well-known southern cities. I was not surprised to learn that these jars of soil were collected from sites where a Black person was lynched. There was one city that, as I encroached upon the topography of it, it truly shocked me. The city was Atchison, Kansas, a small town just northwest of Kansas City, Missouri, a town I'd grown up visiting as for the fact that it was the hometown of my great-grandmother and my grandfather. Knowing that this small town that was once home to a portion of my family was also a part of the long list of places in which many non-white individuals were inhumanely treated and murdered completely shifted my perspective. My experience of Atchison differs greatly from that of others in the way that its duality was shown to me just then as I noticed that jar of soil. My determination to learn grew out of these experiences with cultural leadership. My determination to learn more grew out of these experiences with cultural leadership. I hope to share what I have learned and motivate people to educate themselves and speak out as I am. The time was yesterday to confront the erasure of America's racist roots. I have learned the will to ask and the empathy to learn. No questions should go bottled up. Responsibility is on the individual, specifically white people, to educate themselves on injustices of the past that permeate into today's society. My class has pushed me to discover and dig deeper into the less examined sides of a story I'd never been exposed to. Leaning into discomfort of heavy topics among strangers can be very intimidating. However, when it is amplified that the people around you are trustworthy and willing to listen, the entire experience becomes far less frightening. So I urge you to silence your thoughts, along with your phone, of course, and listen with your heart to whoever trusts you enough to spew their word vomit onto you. Thank you.
Awesome job, Sydney. When I first joined Instagram, I was 14 years old, and I was barely a person. Like most 14-year-olds, I was going into high school with strong opinions about mainly unimportant things, only the barest idea of how the world worked, and a still forming sense of self. I was at the exact stage of life where social media can really take hold of you, and very quickly I fell right into the wide-open trap that is performative activism. My name is Zara Stevick, and I'm a recent graduate of Collegiate School for Medicine and Bioscience, as well as Class 16 of Cultural Leadership. And you may be wondering, what is performative activism, and how does it connect with social media? In short, performative activism is when your activism stems from a desire to be seen as cool or woke instead of a desire to change the world. When people reshare posts without reading them, hype up activists without internalizing their words, or shame others for not being visible on social media while they themselves don't donate to, learn from, or talk about these issues in their actual lives, that's performative activism, and it's a very real problem. In 2019, the spring of my freshman year of high school, the current issue of social media was the crisis in Sudan. A wave of blue was sweeping through Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. A blue profile photo meant you were in support of the Sudanese refugees. And if your profile photo was regular, well, you were clearly an uninformed, uncaring jerk. Obviously, my profile photo was blue. And obviously, I posted on my Instagram story about how horrible it was that some people were being silent about this issue. But that was it. I didn't read about the crisis. I didn't talk to my parents about donating. And when the month was up, I changed my profile photo back to myself and forgot about Sudan just like everybody else. Here's what I didn't know back then. Social media does not equal social justice, and not posting about something does not by any means equal being silent about it. 15-year-old me fed right into what social media was telling me, that if I didn't post about how I cared about something, I must not care at all. This is far from the truth. Visibility does not matter. Education and understanding do. You have no duty to post, no duty to change your profile photo blue. You do have a duty to educate yourself about issues you feel are important, and that should come before you preach about them. However, none of these issues would resurface in my life until a full year later, in the summer of 2020. In the wake of the deaths of George Floyd and many others, social media exploded with the Black Lives Matter movement. Everyone was talking about it, everyone was posting about it, but very few people on my timeline appeared to actually be thinking about it. As I watched meaningless slogans, empty black boxes, and curated infographics float around, I wondered what people were doing aside from taking a glance at Instagram. Looking deeper, the answer seemed to be not nearly enough. Here's what happens when performative activism soars. People begin to conflate social media with making change. They think sharing posts on their Instagram story means they're taking action. Reading outrage articles on BuzzFeed means they're learning. Celebrities, seeing what was going on, began engaging as well. Millionaires and movie stars alike reshared the words, art, and actions of actual activists, a gesture that inherently had nothing wrong with it. But where was the money going? What was changing? And most importantly, how are we improving ourselves and others around us? This is not to say that social media is not a useful tool for activist work, because it is. However, that is exactly the lens through which it should be viewed, as a tool. Social media can be an instrument through which we rally support for causes we care about by offering ways to donate and planning protests. It allows us to share resources, and most importantly of all, it enables us to learn from those different from us, people we may not encounter in our everyday lives. But these things are merely stepping stones to the real work, which requires showing up and putting in the hours in order to make change. By the summer of 2021, my own relationship with social media had improved greatly, and I was still working at finding the right balance between activism and action when I left on the cultural leadership transformational journey with my Class 16 village. Being around people my age with an interest in activism opened my eyes to what real debate and change-making looks like, both on and off social media. I learned the importance of listening to others and the idea that if you don't know what you're talking about, you should not talk. You should ask questions, educate yourself, and come back when you are ready to speak with authority. My classmates taught me that it's okay to be uninformed about something. It doesn't make you stupid or a bad person simply not to know. And I realized that our utmost duty as humans is to learn, to grow, and to help others do the same. Having discussions about social justice in person is almost always going to be more productive than having them through social media, but that doesn't mean you should stop using it. Now that I have grown past my initial Instagram inexperience, I am better about judging people and better about jumping to the wrong conclusion based on one post or one tweet. I know how to filter content I don't want to see and amplify the voices and messages that I do. I still struggle sometimes with sharing for the right reasons, but these days I check my sources and read books and reach out to others in my life when I'm not sure about something. I ask that you do the same. Social media is a powerful force, and performative activism is a prevalent issue. But as long as we are mindful of ourselves and we center our focus on creating real change in our outside lives, I believe we all have the capability to overcome it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney and Zara. Powerful and wise. And, what we say is continue to go forth and be blessings. The blessings that you already are, even before cultural leadership, and then how that increased through that incredible experience. And now really to go forth and to keep on speaking those words of truth and wisdom. We're so appreciative, and thank you for bringing inspiration and real activism to our Shabbat service. Really, big hand again for Sydney, for Zara. We look forward to more, that's for sure. I know we had wonderful speakers last Friday night for Friday Shabbat, including Naomi, who's here with us. And so it's just so inspired by our young people. I know give us all a great deal of hope. And we're not done. We're not done trying to make the world a better place, too. We're not leaving you alone in that task. I know it feels like that sometimes, but we want to be your allies as well. So we're going to kind of move towards the conclusion of our service. Please know that there is another Shabbat service tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. If you want to come on back, hear some more words, songs, prayers, and teachings. And that is tomorrow morning. All kinds of ways to get involved with adult education and social justice work. refer to the e-announcements that you should receive, and our website's a great source of information about what's going on with CRC. Autumn is back there in the, is Ezra with you, Autumn, or just you tonight? You know, Autumn is back there in the streaming booth. If you haven't been back to CRC, we have a streaming booth. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen when you're closed for a year and a half to try to keep everyone safe. Yeah, right, like, right. But Autumn, yes, that is right. Autumn is the wizard of, I have to come up with some good wizardry, right? The Wizard of So I know Autumn is putting some announcements onto the streaming for the folks who are watching at home. And stay involved. Hopefully, you know, summer will stretch and people will have good and warm moments in summer, and then eventually we're going to get into the high holiday season. So stay tuned for all of that. But we want to make sure at the end of the service, before we leave one another, and we will have a little oneg snack. It's just started about a month ago, having food again in the building. So if you're comfortable with masks off and eating, after we're through with the service, we'll go into the oneg room and sing the blessings together. And if you want to stay and have a bite to eat and kind of connect to each other, you're more than welcome to do that. But before we leave the sanctuary, it's always important for us to have these moments of remembrance, of remembering those we've loved and lost, those whose shoulders we stand upon, the people we love in our lives who have passed away. And so to start that off, I'm going to ask anyone that's here in the sanctuary, if you have someone you want to say Kaddish for, whether it's the year of mourning for them, or whether this is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing, to please stand so we can recognize you and hear the people that you're here to remember. And we'll start with Lisa. Your brother, who I know there was a memorial service you just came back from. And I'm sure incredible stories and, you know, and just connection and, you know, to be with people who share that sorrow, you know. They say that that mourning, grief is endless, but that also lets us know that love is also endless. You know, even when people that we love die, the love goes on. And so thank you for starting off our service with Stan and then kind of being part of the ending and honoring your brother of blessed memory. Thank you. And Karen. 48 years ago. You know, again, you know, love is eternal after all those years and decades, and that we have a ritual that, you know, you can stand and say her name. May her memory be. Thank you, Karen. And Stephen.
My wife's mother, Sonia Petrosky-Bear, her
May her memory be a blessing, and tell Bonnie that we're thinking about her and your family. Yes.
I ended up with a list.
That's okay, please.
First, my beloved husband, Frank.
Frank.
Who's gone 7 years. And then for my friends Alan, Becky, and Mishabel, for them, they both have COVID and they lost a loved one to suicide. And then I found out just yesterday that my longtime broker, who become a friend, he had died of COVID. And then my wonderful cousin Laura Michelson, who was 84, she died like 2 days ago. So I'm just really sad. So I'm grateful. I would have been here anyways, but I'm really
Yeah.
grateful.
Well, may all.
Friend Sonia came to.
May all of their memories be a blessing, and may you feel our love and our comfort. And I think Frank just would have loved these young people, right? Like that, you know, Frank was this incredible teacher of spiritual activism, right? And liberal spirituality and progressive. I mean, he was just.
He used to call himself a forensic theologian because he'd written this legal definition of their religion that got cited by the Supreme Court, and he used to get called in as an expert witness for cases of the legal definition of religion.
Wait. I just want to really just drink in that term. Forensic theologian, right? Wow. He's here with us. I know, and he's certainly there with you, even as we miss him. Thank you. We'll go back to Ezra, to names from the stream. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss. It's something singular to lose a friend. It's unlike any other loss. I'm so sorry. Our condolences to the family and to the family of friends. And I know Leslie.
My friend Paul Williams, my friend Josh Porter, my friend Renee Deal, my friend Peter Clemens, and my brother Laurie, who's 22nd yard studies today.
Yeah, your brother. Was it Camp Nebagaman?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's where he is now.
Yeah, that's where he is now. Did I miss anybody? Let's all stand together then, shoulder to shoulder with our mourners, because we want to give them comfort, but also because we're standing for some names I'm going to read that we're all remembering as a community. So just some people whose yahrzeit are this weekend, including, as Leslie said, her brother Lori, also Louis Guller and Sarah Kidder, Lee Shapiro and Laura Blumenfeld, Jane D., Michael D.'s mother, and Lee Einstein, Eli Gertner and Diana Kirkpatrick, Ralph Levy Jr., who was Ralph Levy's father, and Frank Henkin, Lee Henkin's father, young man, a judge actually, of blessed memory. For Nicholas Rudman, for Stuart Watson, Karen's father, for Melba Arnold, Jay Arnold's mother, and Estelle Fisher, Edwin Fisher and Martin Fishkop. Frank is on our list, Alice, Frank Flynn, the forensic theologian. For Lee Grossman and Virginia Morgan, for Saul Schwartz, Debbie Monfort's grandfather. I just talked to Debbie yesterday. Rochelle Scissors, and for Sam Stern. We're also remembering some of our most recent losses, including, I hate to report this, and I know some of you probably don't know this, but knew him. Larry Mange passed away. Larry was a person who was a Saturday morning regular who came here from the Independence Center. And Larry passed away suddenly just yesterday morning. So we're remembering Larry and Ann Mays and Miriam Fields. For David Kaskowitz, another longtime CRC member who was just a wonderful person, and we all miss him very much. For Leslie Wayne Duncan and Bill Levinson, Laura Rose's father. For Ezra's friend, Harley. For Sylvia Ginsburg. For Alice Handelman, Karen Handelman's mother. For Betty Renee Marver, for Josh Porter and Nina Balsam. For George Newman, for Robert Wolfsey. For Francis and Martin Ilovicki, the mother and father of Howie Ilovicki, who died within a week of one another. For Eva Podiat, for members of CRC who've died in this past year, Renee Deal, Faye Zimmerman, Aubrey Yowitz, Shirley Potisha, Art Lash, Selena Green, Susan Carlson, and Lisa's brother Michael Huxley, Ruth Gusdorf and Nina Levine, Pat Denlow, the wonderful human and Bob Denlow, for Kyle Currier, Holly's husband and Noah and Josiah's dad, Samuel Nussbaum and Beatrice Daniel, Hillary Englehart's mother and Steve's mother-in-law, for Linda Holtzman, Alex's mom and a wonderful anti-racism activist in her own right. We're going to have a memorial service for Linda at the end of July because her funeral was at the height of the pandemic, or one of the heights, one of the peaks of the pandemic. For Karen Margot, We're remembering all of them and all the people who we think of at times like this, all the people who have no one to say Kaddish for them, for all the victims of violence and disease, people who've died of COVID. We remember them all with the words of our Kaddish on pages 41 and 42. Zikronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing, we say together. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute, B'chaye echon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, B'agala u'v'zman kari ve'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei al maya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach, ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitchomam ve'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal, Shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma ve'emru amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emru amen. Osei shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'emru amen.
Oh, say shalom bimromav, uyashrei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Ve'imeru amen. Ve'imeru amen.
We're going to give each other one closing blessing, and then I'm going to walk out with my guitar singing a tune, and you guys can follow me, and those that want to stay and do the blessings and then have a bite to eat, you're more than welcome to do that. But before we leave this sacred space, put your arms over and around one another in a way that makes you feel comfortable and okay about it. We're going to offer these words of blessing. Thanks again to Sydney and to Zara. Thanks to Lisa and Stan for lighting candles for Shabbat in honor of Stan's wonderful birthday. Thanks to all of you that are here and streaming for helping begin Shabbat in such a meaningful way. It's really always wonderful to spend time with all of you. And so we say to each other as we hold each other close, these words of peace and love that come right from the Torah scroll into our hearts. We say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless and keep each and every single one of you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. And may you always feel that light, the light of the candles, the light of hope, the light of nature. May it be part of you. May it be within you and all around you. And may that light help give you love and warmth and goodness. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may we know peace, true shalom, right? Not social media fake shalom, but real shalom, and that comes from doing the work and from loving each other and marching and organizing and helping and serving. That helps bring peace. Peace in our hearts, in our homes, in our communities, and God willing soon. May there be more peace, more shalom throughout the whole world, starting now, as we say amen. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.